Hey there, I'm Sarah Zarella, a portrait and wedding photographer and your host for Wedding Secrets Unveiled. This is a podcast where we cut through the complexity of wedding planning, leaving you with everything you need to know directly from the industry experts. If you want to simplify your wedding planning while having fun, of course, you came to the right place. Join me while I guide you through your planning, starting from your engagement to your big day when you say, I do. After photographing for over 20 years, I am sharing with you tips and tricks to cut through the excess noise. Because I believe from the moment you said yes, your planning experience should be a magical time in your life. Here you'll find episodes that are fun, stress-free, and straight to the point with a fresh, honest take on the reality of what you really need to know about planning your perfect day. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. I'm your host, Sarah Zarella, and we are here joined with episode number 3 with our two very special guests. We have Kenney Pharo, who's a sales manager of Pranzi Tents and Events, and she is joined by Nunes, who's a senior tent consultant, also at Pranzi Rentals, Inc. We are on episode 3, so if you haven't tuned into the other two prior to this, definitely go back, listen to those episodes. But this episode is just a fun one. We are just swapping stories. We're sharing stories, and we just want to entertain you for this episode because at the end of the day, Pranzi does it all. It's a one-stop shop, and so they've seen it all, and they're extremely experienced. So if you just want to be entertained and think about all things wedding, this is a podcast episode for you. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. I'm your host, Sarah Zarella, and we have 3 times on the show for the grand finale. We have 2 very special guests. So for our listeners, if you haven't caught the last 2 episodes, stop and go back and listen, or listen to this one and then go back. But either way, for our listeners, can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you serve?
Sure. So my name is Kenney Pharo. I am a sales manager for Pranzi Tents and Events, and we work under the big, beautiful umbrella of Pranzi. And I take the lead on the design and every beautiful aspect of what that looks like in your custom process. And my sales partner over here, Matt, is who I go to when I need guidance and advice on tenting.
Thank you. Matt Nunes, and I am a senior tent consultant with Pranzi Tents and Events. And as Megan had indicated, that's under the Pranzi umbrella, which includes catering, tents and events, and rentals, everything you would need in the hospitality space. And don't sell yourself short. You've come a long way in terms of understanding tenting, right? I'm taking a few notes from you these days.
So a lot of details.
Yeah.
I mean, so for our listeners, right, there is so much going on in one place, right, which is the Pranzi umbrella, that's how we were able to do 3 episodes. I mean, we literally could do 4 or 5. In fact, we have actually done 4 because the owner and the founder of Pranzi, Lisa, was on our podcast. So she was on episode 92, and the episode was called Starting from Scratch, right?
Yeah.
So she was talking a little bit about, I mean, actually, you just need to go listen to it, but it's literally starting from scratch. Like, Pranzi can do it all, right? And she kind of went through the whole line of taking an idea and implementing it for your celebration. But today, we're going to switch things around a little bit, all right? And we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to have some fun for our listeners. There is 2 very talented, very experienced people to my right, and they have many, many years of experience.
Yeah, that's kind of you.
I like to think myself
I did
as
say
younger.
in episode 1, I'm a boomer, so that means a lot of years.
But I think it's really important to understand that when you walk through the doors of Pranzi, you're walking through to a team, right? And there is so many years of experience. There's so many levels of service that is offered underneath one roof, right?
Yeah.
And so I think what we were kind of wanting to do for you all today is just lighten it up a little bit, have some fun, talk about stories. But really, in reality, if you listen to our stories and we're entertaining you, you're realizing that there's just a lot of experience and a lot of navigating and understanding what to do in different scenarios. And yeah, it's just going to be a random episode for you all,
Yeah.
coming at you, coming at you hot. So with that said, who wants to kick it off?
I can.
Go for it, Meg.
So one story that really comes to mind has to go into weather, because we talked about that the first
First episode.
episode,
Mhm.
and it is so unbelievably important.
Mhm.
And I think Matt and I are trauma bonded through that. It's not like it happened to us once or
Bonded.
I like
twice.
that.
It happened to us a few times. Love you, New England. When there is a client, we care about all our clients so deeply. You spend so much time getting to know them, and we want your day to be perfect
Mhm.
just as much as you do. I promise you that. So when we're looking at the forecast, as Matt and I do, and we're looking out and we're like, no, it's going to change. And then we wake up in the morning, we're like, no, we still have 3 days. It's going to change. And then we're like, okay, it's not going to change. What do we do? Matt had this amazing idea, and we call it the chapel. So Matt talked about the different style tents, and there is one that is a structure tent. It is a Navitrack. It is my personal favorite, maybe because that
It
day.
was the rain plan,
Yeah.
right?
Okay,
So
okay.
we had to execute the rain plan.
Mhm.
Okay.
Remember
Yeah.
we talked about that in the first episode
Yes.
about the importance of
Oh,
contingency
contingencies.
Yes.
for weather.
Yes.
So we had to enact it.
Rain is being kind. I would call it more of a monsoon. Not to share too much, but like
Yes.
my socks and all of undergarments were soaked. It was raining so
That's a rarity,
bad.
actually.
Yeah.
I have to say, knock on wood, in New England, it's very rare that you have a complete washout. Like usually it's raining and and only it doesn't affect
Right.
you guys that way. Like obviously a little rain, you got to do a temp. I'm talking about as a photographer.
Yep.
People are always like, what if it rains on our day? I'm like, usually I could still get the couple out for a little bit.
Of course.
So I can tell you one hand, and it's less than like two fingers being held up, the amount of times that it's been a complete washout.
Mhm.
So to have this, that's a
So
rarity.
you can imagine why we carry this with us. It again, someone we cared deeply about, and we had a plan and a vision, and it was this beautiful clear top tent.
Okay.
And the way that the siding worked, it was buttoned up to perfection. The guests came in through what we call a marquee, so those kind of tunnels,
Mhm.
and they were dry from the second they got out of their cars. They walked right in. They did their ceremony. Everyone was happy. They were married. We went on to the cocktail hour and reception, and I stood in that tent and I couldn't believe that I had just been outside soaking wet and was in here, and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is what people dream of the best worst case scenario
Mhm.
being. And we didn't take that lightly. We put a lot of time into thinking about exactly what needed to happen when you get into that extreme one in 100 or millions and things of weather scenarios. But we were prepared,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. And now we joke and we call it the chapel. And later on, to hear feedback from, mom and aunt and bride and planner and everybody, and being like, they didn't even know that it was
Mhm.
Yeah.
cold and rainy out there. And that was just it. That was the moment where I was like, yeah, this
Yeah.
worked. And
But those conversations start long before that, right? And so I kind of geek out on this stuff, and so it's like, what are we going to do in the event that we have weather? And
Mhm.
so, as Megan had mentioned, a frame tent wouldn't really be uh, probably an initial thought for a ceremony at the Marble House, right? Given the Gilded Age and the history and things like that, you'd be thinking sailcloth, you'd be thinking something more stylish. But given it was a weather contingency component and was going to be
Mhm.
made, just a couple days before, we saw the forecast and things like that. But the other important thing is the walling configuration that Meg is thinking about runs on a ketered track walling, and it goes along the eave and it goes along each leg. And so it's like literally sliding a panel into the side of the
Hmm.
tent, which keeps the wall from flapping and all of these other components while the weather is happening outside. You don't want that to impact the
Impact.
experience. Oh, I can't hear
That ties
the
into you.
officiant
Yeah.
because the side is flapping
Yes.
and things like that. So that was the kind of the fun component about it. In spite of the weather, the guest experience came off swimmingly.
And that's the
We
Not
were
thing.
literally,
we
Yeah,
were
but
swimming
close
at one
to
swimming.
point.
But that's the thing. Like I just for the listeners, it really comes with experience. It really comes from knowing your product. I mean, that could have been a disaster. I mean, like you said, there's so many things that uh, people don't understand goes into it. But at the end of the day, like you said, like it could be even a noise component.
Yeah.
Like you want to hear people talk and it not be so loud and the flapping. I mean, there's a story that I could share that I was working an event. This wasn't a wedding; it was an event, and it was in a tent, and there wasn't enough heat. So it provided, it was in October. No, it was April. It was April. And so April's like that touch and go up here in the north. I mean, it could be a really beautiful, but it could be really cold. And um, it was not Pranzi. So, but the tent company or the rental company, again, I was just the photographer, so I don't know where this fell upon, but whatever was, it unfortunately fell short and did not have enough heat going into the tent. And people left early.
Right.
They were just cold.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, as a listener, you don't realize all these things,
It's an
right?
investment.
It's an investment. So you have all this time and energy, and people are leaving early. And so therefore they're leaving early because they're uncomfortable. They're cold. And so it's just something that you have to really think about, right? You
yeah.
and maybe you don't. Just make sure you hiring a professional company that does.
Right. Someone who's looking out for those things. We want you to be able to focus on the fun stuff and let us think about the weather. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I think at one point, was it last year or 2 years ago? And Matt and I did a lot of tent work over the past couple years. And I had like 3 weather apps on my phone.
Mm.
Matt taught me a lot about the compass and north, south, east, and west, because that was the lingo and how they refer to things. And I learned about the wind and
Yeah, I'm always looking at wind, and because
Because that's what brings the weather in,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
It's-
well,
yeah.
and then the force of the wind and the direction of the wind are what are going to impact the climate under the tent.
Okay.
And so the first thing you have to mitigate any sort of inclemency are the sidewalls. So initially, let's say it's a beautiful day, you have no issues, the sidewalls are not on the tent, everybody's able to free flow under the tent, it's beautiful ambient temperature. The minute that starts to go, now you have to enact the walling plan, the weather dependent plan. And so that can involve heat, and it's also
Mhm.
involving the rain. So which way is the rain coming from? Now, on hot summer days, putting the walls down makes it uncomfortable the other way.
Mhm.
I had one situation where it was, again, a high-end wedding. Planner was out of Boston, and he and I were just on the same page. I happened to be the tent attendant on site, so you can have an attendant on site through the event. I took down and placed up the same 200 feet of wall 6 times in the same evening. The weather came in. It was just an evening where the storms kept coming in like every half hour or things like that. And so you'd have a shower, it'd be raining, it'd be like sideways
Yeah.
rain. And so he had me go around, but the minute the wall sides were all on the tent, it got too hot. And so the guests are like, oh God, it's steamy in here, I'm
Yes.
sweltering, things like
Yeah.
that. And so the minute the rain stopped, he's like, I want you to take them down. And so I went back and forth on this, but It's that attention to detail. It's that service. It's seeing it through, right through to that finish line, that is going to make the difference in that overall guest experience.
That's a good shout out to our team too. We have an incredible on-site team at
Yeah.
Pranzi. Again, coming from being a client for a couple years and now part of the team. They are awesome, whether it is from setup or attendant during the event or breakdown. They are super on top of it, knowledgeable, respectful.
You've experienced it as a client.
Yeah, I have had them lift every leg of a tent for a foot because that mattered, and they did, and I thank them for it. And 2 feet, okay, but they did it, and it is incredible to watch a team who cares about what they're doing. And as the sales manager, that's who you want in your corner, right? And as a client, that should be what you want. And it's definitely, I've said it before, what you deserve. You deserve the people that are going to keep working for you. So yeah, you're going to meet with Matt and I, and we're going to be with you through the process. But just know, I'm not the one putting your signs up and down. Sorry. But you're going to want the guys that are there doing that. And, you touch on tent attendance. And I think that's another thing to keep in mind, that Matt and I are pretty big supporters of having 1 or 2 tent guys there to help, whether it's heaters and sides and all of those things.
Kind of going off of the same story I shared with, it being cold, right? Let's talk about it being warm. A little story I shared that I would like to share. Again, not Pranzi. But there was a wedding that Dan and I did at a venue that has a permanent tent up. And it, it was a June wedding. And so like usually in
So
June,
tricky.
it's Meg, it was to date the hottest wedding I've done. And it's because there was no wind.
Air.
Right.
None. It was just, to the point where the drone that was being flown by the videographer, we literally needed it to fly over us for it to create wind.
Right.
Like the poor bride, I was like, I was working with Mike from Artistic Wedding Video Group. I'm like, Mike, go fly the drone over her.
Right.
And she was just standing there, like just taking the. I actually think that was the day we were doing Dan and I's promo video. So if you want to get a little behind the scenes, you can go on our website and you'll see Dan and I in our promo video. It was like, I think like my face was looked like a tomato. I was drenched with sweat, and like literally Mike was there to film our promo video.
Shout out to Mike. Mike is awesome.
Yes.
He
And
did
so-
fly the drone at my wedding. Again, you and Dan were
Yes.
both there, and it
Yeah.
was like 45-mile-an-hour winds.
Yes.
So also give yourself a little bit of grace. I do this for a living, and I remember waking up at like 2 a.m. and hearing like the rope on the lines for the sailboats are in Newport outside the hotel, and being like, I thought about everything but wind. So we went out and got married out on the water, and Sarah and Dan know this. I have no shots of my train out because, in 45-mile-an-hour winds, you cannot have a train out.
But in my defense, because I'm her photographer, I should have told her to unbustle her train, but I showed up and it was bustled.
Because it was so windy.
So I just thought it was part of the dress.
We
don't know.
We did unbustle it for me to go down the aisle, and Shannon was kind enough to hold it. I thought it was gonna like take her away, and I have it like wrapped around, and we came back, and I was like, just bustle it back up, and it was fine.
Yeah, but like I remember you texting me like, I have no pictures of me with the. I'm like, oh, that's a photographer fail. But I was like, wait a minute, I would have told her. And then I go back in the pictures, and it was bustled from the get go.
I mean, I loved it bustled. So
You know
it
what
was
though,
beautiful.
Meg?
It was so windy.
So like in true Meg form, saying be graceful to yourself. For my wedding, I had a detachable train, and it was all like part of the look, right? Like to the point where I was like, I'll have like I was like being bougie. I was like, oh, I'll have 3 hairstyles. Like I'll start my hair up, then I'll.
She kicked off the trends, by the way.
Oh,
of the outfit
I was like,
change.
start with our hair up, then I'll pull it on my hair down, and then I'll put like a flower. Like it all went with the same thing. Like I'll start with the train on, then I'll bustle it, and then I'll take it off for the reception, right? It was like a 3-step process. I skipped step 2.
Yeah.
Step 2 was like, enter your reception with your train bustled. I entered it without even a train. So like all of my reception pictures is just like no train, like no detachable bustle. So yeah,
Yeah.
epic failure on my end.
I don't know.
I even had like the look like it was in the style guide that I like wrote to myself.
We all talked about this. We all knew these were the things that you want to accomplish, and sometimes, it just doesn't work out
Doesn't
that
work
way.
out.
But you look at what you do get at the end of it, and you're just like in awe, right?
Yes.
You're in awe of the moment, the memories, and how it all came together. So no matter what your weather is, it's gonna be
It's
awesome.
gonna be awesome. But going back to rentals now,
Yeah.
right? There's something, so, just stories wise, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something to be said about the wow of the room, right?
Mhm.
So, and like what it feels like, and it's like all these like little things that are just important to you. And so I remember like going on my wedding day, like there was like I just have a pet peeve, right? I don't like when you can see the high boy
Feet.
yes.
Yeah.
And so, like, being an outside wedding, we had to tie the linens
Mhm.
around because they
Wind.
flap. The
Yeah.
wind, they
Yeah.
flap.
Sash.
Sash.
Had to put a sash
Mhm.
There you
around.
go.
Yeah,
Sash.
see?
So for the listeners, think about that because you cannot if you have an
You
outside.
can hide it. You just need the bigger size linen.
Bingo. That's what I was about to say.
So
Yes.
if you are getting married outside, little pro tip, you should ask about the bigger size linen just to be on the safe side. You should always get a sash.
Sash.
We always send a sash, or strongly recommend getting the sash if you need it. I hope that you don't and the wind is calmer than I had. But if you need it, it's better to have it, because I have dipped into my little supply kit and used zip ties and had the florist pull out extra floral to hide my zip ties. So, and it always works out, but better to be prepared.
But that's what we did. Like like I just went ahead and just got the sash. Like I just
Yeah.
was like, listen, I don't even want to deal with that component
Mm.
because we ordered the oversized linens, and it was really important to me that I just don't see these feet, these high boy tables. But with that said, I mean, I don't know if you guys just caught that little nugget that like Meg's like zip tying it up, and she's like, how do I hide that? She's like, let's get the floor.
Yeah.
So-
And you have to get
Ideally, you don't
creative.
want to be in that spot,
Right.
but in the event you
Yeah.
are.
Okay, you know what though? Like, here's another thing. Like, I don't want to keep coming back to my wedding, but there's like these little weird things that like I look back at the pictures, and I had this beautiful easel, and it was something that I had up at the seating charts, and then there's like these rocks underneath like the easel. I'm like, what are these rocks for? I'm like, why they were put
Hold it in
there.
place.
Put it in
Yeah.
place. I didn't
Yes,
think that through.
weight
And I'm like, oh God, that's so ugly. But you know what? It was either that
Or
or it's gonna fall
Your sign
down.
the
was
seating
falling.
chart
Yeah.
is falling down.
Again, it's just all these little things that, just I don't know. They're just there.
You know what I could tell you though?
What?
No one else saw the rocks.
No one did. No one did.
Right? And no one else knew that there were zip ties and all the things that we talk about and joke about now. It's at the end of the day, it was beautiful, and your sign was up, right?
It was there.
That was
It was there.
the
So-
priority of it.
All right, I want to put you guys on the hot seat. All right, and I don't care who goes first. We're literally at a round table. All right,
Okay.
so here it
Round
is.
Table.
It doesn't matter. Whatever. It doesn't have to even be to do with like tents or rentals or Pranzi. It could. Just in general, in your years of experience, what's just one? It could be good, bad, funny, like anxiety driven, beautiful, not beautiful. What's that one like story that just stands out to you guys? And I'm sure there's a bunch, but just what just popped in your head? One story, one wedding story.
I'll start.
Oh, okay.
Again, this over the years, I've had the occasion to be on site for the event. So this was the Sunday brunch afterwards, out
Okay.
in the Berkshires under a beautiful sailcloth. It was a nice, cool, crisp fall morning. None of the walls were on the tent. I had the heat fired up, take the chill out of the air. People are coming in for brunch, right? And so everything is going like clockwork. And so I look at the band. The band shows up. It's a beautiful cellist, and they have a piano and things like that. So I'm thinking in the back of my mind, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. We're going to finish this out, easy breezy, lemon peasy. In the middle of the brunch, all of a sudden, the band's power goes like completely shut down. Now, again, we're doing the on-site power and all of these things. I go back, I trace it back, and the caterer, it's always the coffee pot, had
Always.
plugged in
Oh, really?
a
Pulls a lot of
coffee
power.
urn for one of their circuits, and it overloaded the circuit and blew the the band out. Within minutes, the band owner, which was all this, I was thinking, well, it's just a cellist, and like
Yeah.
how high end can this equipment be? Well, it was really high end. He was in my grill going, I have a specific rider in my contract that says I'm not supposed to share any circuits, and
Ouch.
right, and the planner is there, and I'm looking at it. I was this close to going, uh, I don't have a contract with you,
Right?
so I'm not worried about that.
Why are we
If it
yelling?
says that somewhere, we'll worry about that.
Yeah.
The important thing was, I was like, let's just solve the problem, get back to the event, get you back live, get everything balanced loaded here, and get the problem solved. So I guess it ties into the kind of the overall message. I was listening to one of the earlier podcasts,
Yes.
and you had mentioned how each even if you're at a venue that does 50 weddings a year or whatever the number is, or in your backyard or at one of the mansions, each event is going to have its own
Hmm.
unique
Right.
characteristics, and there is always going to be something that doesn't go a particular way. And the thing, and I guess, I don't know, again, coming back to the boomer and dad and sage old experiences, for the brides out there, for the grooms, for the families, just embrace that. That's a part of your celebration. And
Hmm.
it's
Got the
going to be
chills.
something unique. It's going to be something maybe funny, maybe not so funny in the
Yeah.
moment, but how you pivot, how you react, whether it's weather, whether it's the caterers, whether it's anything, something is going to happen. And being calm, being happy, being engaged in the moment is what you want to remember and not lose it and
Yeah.
have a bad memory in the moment. So just anticipate that. It's going to be something. You're not going to know what it is. And I know we spent a lot of time talking about weather and things like that. The majority of tented weddings go off swimmingly, and there's not a
Yes.
lot of wind, and the weather is good,
No.
and
Right.
the reception comes off
But
wonderful.
like you said, if it's not the weather, because there's so many moving parts. There's going to be something from your day that doesn't go as planned.
Yeah.
Right.
Period. End of story. And it's kind of one of those things where I was thinking about this, and I'm like, I've been doing this for X amount of years, right? And most people in their careers, like as they do their career more, they get seasoned and like it comes easier, right? Comes
Right.
easier, right? And I kept thinking to myself, like, why is my career not easier?
Because you know more. We've seen it. So now we're thinking about every event that we do, we learn something. So now I'm carrying that into the next client's
Yes.
experience. And I'm like, well, I learned this
But
on top of the 10 other things that I learned that I'm going to prevent this from happening if I can.
but it's also too, Meg, it's like it's the excitement. Like it's every single day when I'm driving to work, it's it's the first day with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's
Yeah.
the first day with them. So it's different dynamics, different space, different venue,
Vendors.
different weather, right? Like
Yeah.
or just different couple, different family dynamics. I still get extremely nervous in a good way. It's the
Mm-hmm.
butterfly feeling when that bride comes down the aisle. I've seen that bride come down that aisle every weekend for the last 20 something years, but I still get excited. And I said to myself, the day that I stop feeling that way, that nervous way, is the day I'll put my camera down. Oh, I haven't put it down. But I think it's also too because every single event, something different happens,
Right.
Yeah.
right? There's some type of challenge, and I'm okay with that because bring it.
Yeah.
Right.
Bring it.
Well,
Yeah.
because you look around you, like, I mean, at this table, I obviously feel extremely comfortable, but in we get on site and we're in meetings and we're talking around tables and emails and Zooms and all these things. And we're building this relationship and this confidence in each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we know how talented, I mean, it is incredible to work in the New England wedding and event space, right? There's so much talent here, so much passion that I work with clients and I'm like, you don't need to bring that band from big city A because we have it
We
here,
have it here.
right? And that is so important. And whether it was here at Pranzi or, you know, being a venue manager or working at restaurants and hotels that did weddings and all of these things, I've had this really beautiful seat to watch all of this unfold and watch careers grow and these friends, right? Just thrive in what we love to do. And that's so cool to
Yeah.
see. And you're right,
No.
no two events are the same, but no couples are the same either. And that's
No.
the cool part about it.
I have to say, like you said, a lot of people say to me, like, do you travel? Right?
Mhm.
Am I right now in my life and where I'm at in my life? I have young kids. I don't. I'll go to Italy. That'll do. I don't need to because, like you said, it's right here. We are, and for those listeners who are nationwide and worldwide, I actually know some of you guys are worldwide. I see who's listening because I can see in the analytics. We are in such a mecca. Rhode Island has is like, I want to say, one of the hubs of weddings. Everything's right here. There's so much talent in this space that we have. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break, and then when we get back, I'm gonna open up the show with a good story. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you like what you're hearing, I encourage you to check out our website at sarahzarella.com. And don't forget, you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate if you left a fabulous review on Apple Podcast. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support. And now, let's get back to the episode. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. So before the break, we were just kind of shooting beforehand. So we're going to keep that trend on. Story. So I said to Meg over the break, I'm like, I want to tell a story, and it's about vendor meal. And Meg was like, oh, God.
I've heard a lot of them.
Yes, I know. I know you have. So again, working with reputable catering companies. I could say that for Pranzi, this was not one of their gigs. There's so many moving parts when you're at a wedding. And for your vendors, I mean, some of us have been on the scene for all day. And like at this point in my career, I'm packing snacks. So like I don't rely on the vendor meal. Like some people get really bougie about the vendor meal, and like they like go like, I want to speak to the manager, and I didn't get my vendor meal at such and such a time. I mean, at the end of the day, it's in my contract. You have to give me a hot meal, But like, am I gonna like? It's just not worth it. I'm just not that special to like start complaining to like the venue host that like I didn't get served. However, let's talk about venue meals for a hot second, because I will bring my own snacks. I mean, it's all good here. But there was a particular venue that I was working at, and like they weren't giving soft drinks out to the vendors. We had to pay for it and all this fun stuff. And like I just didn't bring my wallet, so I didn't have any money. And I had all my snacks. I didn't have like my caffeine fixed. So it was
Or
like,
Diet Coke back.
it literally was that bad.
I know.
It was.
Yeah.
So this venue does not do this anymore. Somehow, like I think they got the memo that this wasn't cool. But at one point, like they were charging us for soft drinks as a vendor. And I mean, it was like 8 o'clock. I've been on site since 8 a.m. and I needed Diet Coke. My blood sugar level was just crashing. I don't know, like maybe it's like the addiction in me that I just needed my Diet
So
Coke.
good.
And so like I went up, I'm like, can I have a Diet Coke? And he was like, it's gonna be $2 and da 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 cents. I'm like, oh, I don't have any cash. And then I'm like, oh, like, and then he just still like looked at me like it wasn't giving it to me.
Wasn't
So
reading the room.
I was like, oh,
He wasn't helping you out.
like, okay. And I just was like, okay, note to self, like this is not gonna happen here anymore. Like you don't get your Diet Coke. But it was just one of those things where I don't know. There was another story that I was gonna say that like I know particularly like the couple paid for their vendor meals, and like we didn't get any vendor meals, and then they ran out of food, and they're like, we don't have any. And so like the mother of the bride came up to me, she's like, oh, how was your meal? And it was like that moment
Right.
where
What do
I'm
you
like,
say?
what do I say? Because if I say we didn't get fed, that is not going to be well on the
Received.
venue,
Yeah.
well
Right.
received
Yeah.
for the. She's going to
For
be
either.
upset.
For
Right.
either her, because
No,
now she's got an issue, or the
because she
venue.
paid for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And but at the same time, like,
Is
what
that
do
what you want to take the takeaway? Yeah.
no.
Right.
So I just smiled and I nodded and I just said it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. That goes into the teamwork of it, right? The team, the one united front of it, of an event. And what we were just talking about, and all the talented vendors and things like that. There, no wedding or event happens with just one team,
No.
one vendor, right?
No.
We are lucky that we have a big team and different divisions that we
Yeah.
kind of combined into Pranzi. But we can't do a wedding without Sarah and Dan taking beautiful photos, or the florist bringing the flowers and all of those things, right? The caterers bring the food and all of this. It's like a big collective effort, and we have to take care of each other and look out for each other. And we were talking about funny stories, and Matt and I know we talked a lot about weather, but Matt rolled up with some tools that we needed to move some water from rain. And it's that support level, right? Whether it's a Diet Coke for Sarah or an umbrella from Matt, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's when you start to collect your vendor team as a couple, really think about who you're putting together and who works well together, because it's okay to say we don't all work well together and we're all not the right fit and all of those things. And when you're looking at it, it matters. It matters that go ahead.
No. Go.
No, it matters that we're coming into this, like you said, it's our first time for this couple, and we're coming in as a united front. And I'm sorry you didn't get your Diet Coke. I would have brought one today for you
Thank you.
if I knew.
We brought coffee.
Yeah,
Everybody,
so-
yeah,
Caffeine
yeah.
free.
See,
We're early enough.
well,
Yeah.
that's why I was jiving with you on episode 1, where you're like I drink coffee. I'm like, it was the same thing. Like
Yeah.
I just need I go from coffee, and then about 4 o'clock I switch to Diet Coke.
Mhm.
But I know this is off subject a little bit in regards, because we were talking more about like tenting and rentals and the team and the umbrella that Pranzi has. But oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. There was I just got so excited about a certain story. I was gonna say, I was like,
Yeah, that's what it is. You get so excited. You sit here at this table.
You
and
mean
you're
we're over vendor meals?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've moved
To all
past
those
it.
brides and families out there, please make sure that your caterer or venue provides
like,
vendor
what was
meals.
I gonna
It's
say? It was a good one too. Oh, bummer.
I'll-
Bummer. It was a
I'll-
story.
I'll try and fill in here.
Yeah.
I guess, in coming back to Pranzi, I mean, it's a little bit unique in terms of their story. You had Lisa on
Mm-hmm.
episode 92, I think it
Mhm.
was, in
Mhm.
terms of Pranzi catering. And that's where it all began, some 30 years ago. And just a little over 10 years or so ago, they started into the rental space to support their own events
Yes.
as a caterer. And so initially, the space that they were supporting were their own events. It quickly grew into where we support other caterers now in terms of their catering tent needs or venues or different things like that. So in addition to being one-stop shop for Pranzi Catering and supporting all of their events, we support all of the caterers around New England, all of the venues around New England as its own rental company. So I know we've been tossing around the name
No,
Pranzi, and it's important
It's
to
important, though,
understand
yeah.
that, there's Pranzi Catering, there's Pranzi Tents and Events, there's Pranzi Florals. That's a component as well. And each of the children have had a role under Lisa and Nicola, the father.
And I also think it's important that you can come as a team and
Yeah.
do the
Yeah.
whole thing. Or sometimes at certain events, Pranzi's out as one role, one
Yeah.
hat. It's the caterer,
Just the
or maybe
rentals
it's the
piece.
rentals, or maybe it's the tent. It's
Yeah.
florals too,
Yeah.
Mm.
right? That's what
Yeah.
Lisa was talking about on the show. Is that it's everything.
Yeah.
And it ties
Yeah.
into customizable, right?
Hmm.
What aspect can we assist you with? We'd love to do it all, but sometimes there's an in-house caterer or you don't need a tent or whatever it is.
Right. So, with
Mm.
that said, episode 3 comes to an end. So, I would just love to wrap this up a little differently when we wrap up. Instead of asking you guys the same question I've asked you on the other 2 shows, I would love to just to go around quickly and just what would you like the listeners to be left with? It just their one takeaway.
I guess I'll start
Mhm.
because I've been thinking about this, and with this many years in the industry and things like that, and I've learned from the titans in this industry. Mike Corcoran started Newport Tent back in the '70s. He was friendly with a company up in Watertown, Mass, Jesse G. Willis Tent Company, and that goes back. And so you're talking about over 50 to 70 years of tented events
Mhm.
all around New England, tented weddings
Mhm.
out at through South Dartmouth and Michon Point and Nonquit and
Mhm.
Salters Point and in addition to that, all around Newport and things like that. And the one thing I guess that I would say that makes Megan and I unique, or certainly my passion, is that there's even with a wedding, even at a venue, there's a certain carnival atmosphere to the celebration.
Mhm.
Meaning that it comes in, if it's in somebody's backyard that week of, the family is coming into town, the tent is going up, there's all this build up, then there's the actual show, and then the tent goes away, and then everything kind of comes back to normal. But throughout all of that, your experiences during that time with your vendors in that space are what make it fun.
Yes.
It what make it fun. And so having partners, having professionalism, having people with experience are going to give you the best opportunity for success in that day. And then when that one thing does go wrong unexpectedly, you rely on them to kind of bring it back to what it can be and truly allow you the freedom to celebrate during your day. And that's I kind of the overarching message that I would say that we're trying to bring with Pranzi is to say it's a closely held family business, nimble enough team. We have a lot of professionalism and experience, excellent installers, everything that you're going to need to allow you to be successful on that
I
day.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you can beat that.
Thanks.
Hot
Well,
seat,
I
hot
hold,
seat.
hold on. I'm gonna drop in.
All right.
My daughter.
She's got it.
My daughter's 3.5.
Oh, she's
And
a boss.
she's
Oh, she's a boss.
she's
I
so
love
cute.
her.
And in her school right now, pre-K, they're talking about community. And it's been something that has been kind of in the forefront of conversations at our home. And I know it's something that Matt and I have kind of talked about for the past couple years now. And that kind of ties into what Matt was saying in this overall crazy game of life,
Mhm.
whether it's weddings and the team that you build for yourself, right? So you're building a wedding party and your family's around and all of those things. And that's one component. And then we're your other community. We're here for you and we're going to support you and we're going to band together and do what we need to do to make this day so memorable that you look back and you're like, yeah, wow, that was it. And the community aspect, again, talking about Newport and New England, Rhode Island, all those things, we feel it. We feel it. Like I got chills hearing you talk about that. And, my connection with Sarah and Dan, obviously from my wedding experience to where we are sitting here today has been incredible. And I don't take it for granted, right?
Yeah.
We just you matter to us, right? As a couple, as a client, you matter to us. And we want that to be felt, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, like you just like I don't like that was good.
Okay,
so I'll add
we've been
one more
thinking about
component.
it.
This is why though, like you guys are excelling your career. There's a passion, there's a love. I mean, this is ultimately this podcast that we're here doing. Like I do this for free. Like I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm delivering content to the viewers. I just want like that like there's people who are getting married across the nation who doesn't even have never met me. I'm not gonna be at their wedding. I just want a community support.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No secrets. We're here to help.
So it's not copywritten or trademarked or anything like that, but I did come up with it.
Okay.
And
What is
so
it?
the tagline is, thank you for making our everyday a memorable part of your one day. And it's
mic
that
Mic drop.
it's that gratitude of appreciation for us being the vendor that gets to participate in your wedding.
Oh, Matt, that
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah, we could do anything. And this is what we love to do together, right? All of
Listen,
us together.
I mean, for the viewers,
Yeah.
they need to call you guys. So where can they find you?
So you can start at the website, pranzitents.com. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We have TikTok for our catering. We're around.
Mm-hmm. And what I'll do for the listeners is you can find both Matt and Megan's information along with Pranzi's information right on our episode show notes, which are on our blog, which is at sarahzarella.com/wedding podcast. We're also on YouTube. So if you're listening on podcast, if you're listening, watch YouTube. And if you are listening, please download the episode, rate and review. It helps us give this back to the community. Please do your part because I'm definitely trying to do my part to help you all plan an amazing day, stress-free. So I want to thank you for joining us
Thank
on the
you.
third
Thank you.
episode.
Really fun.
Yeah. So with that said, one day I'll see you all again on this podcast.
Sounds
Yeah.
great.
Thank you for listening to Wedding Secrets Unveiled. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you something. I encourage you to check out our website at sarahzarella.com. We love photographing while having fun, of course. Check out our podcast page on our website for our show notes along with upcoming episodes with your local wedding experts. Listen in as we help you plan your epic event. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. I would so appreciate if you left a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support and let us know what you think. If you know any wedding experts that would like to be a guest, we have a link directly on our website where they can let us know. Thank you for listening.